Hello and welcome back to another board game review by PsyCat Games. This is video number 4 of the board game review series, and for this video we'll be looking into Exploding Kittens. This game is created by Exploding Kittens Incorporated. The game is intense, always keeping everyone on their feet with its Russian roulette-like gameplay. This family-friendly game is meant for 2 to 5 players of ages 7 years old and above, and one round can take about 15 minutes to play. That's pretty quick, right? So let's go ahead and dive right into Exploding Kittens. So here we have the original edition Exploding Kittens pack. Inside this pack, you have 56 cards in total. You have your 6 diffuse cards, 5 nope cards, 5 see the future cards, 20 powerless cards, although not entirely powerless, and 4 each of your Exploding Kittens card, favor card, attack card, shuffle card, and skip card. Winning at Exploding Kittens is easy, but getting there, maybe not so much. You simply win by being the last person standing or the last person not to get an Exploding Kitten card. So the first thing that you gotta do when setting up the Exploding Kittens game is remove all of the Exploding Kittens card and the diffuse cards from the deck. Next, shuffle all of the remaining cards and deal 4 cards each to all players facing down. Next, give 1 diffuse card to each player so that everyone ends up with 5 cards in their hands. Next, insert enough Exploding Kitten cards into the deck so that there is 1 fewer than the number of players. For example, if there are 4 players, insert 3 Exploding Kitten cards into the deck. Unused Exploding Kitten cards should be set aside and cannot be used in the game. Insert the extra diffuse cards back into the deck as well. However, if there are only 2 players, only put in 2 diffuse cards. Remove the other 2 and set it aside. Lastly, shuffle the whole deck again and put it in the middle of the table facing down. This is now your draw pile. Randomly pick a player to go first and you're ready to begin. Start off your turn by playing a card. You can either play an action card or a pair of powerless cards. Place this in the discard pile facing up. If you play a pair of powerless cards, you get to pick a random player and steal a card from their hand, but no looking, and you can only get 1 card. After you enact that action card or played a pair, you can play more cards. For example, if you have 2 sets of pair cards in your hands, you can play that other pair after getting that random card from that other player. But this situation is highly unlikely. Once you're good and have no other cards to play, end your turn by taking a card from the draw pile and pray to God it's not an Exploding Kitten. So here are some special combos that you can play with Exploding Kittens. Combos are any group of cards that are played at the same time. When you play combos, ignore the instructions on the cards. These special combos are 2 of a kind, 3 of a kind, and 5 different cards. But these special combos are normally used in advanced play. Here are some additional reminders from Exploding Kittens themselves. So number 1 is that you can actually count the cards left in the draw pile. Number 2, there's a high chance that you won't be running out of cards in the draw pile, so you don't really need to reshuffle them. And number 3, there is no maximum or minimum number of cards that can be in your hand, and there is no special action to take. So if you have 0 cards in your hands, keep playing though. You'll still need to draw at least 1 card at the end of your turn. And lastly, number 4, if you want to play with more players, combine 2 original edition packs together and you can play up to 9 players. So now here are some tips and tricks from PsyCat Games on playing Exploding Kittens. So number 1 is don't hold back on using your action cards. Some people use this strategy wherein they'll only use their action cards when they really need them. But this is not one of those games where that strategy will greatly benefit you. So always use your action cards, otherwise they'll go to waste. Our next tip is to analyze the moves of other players. We personally found that you can't just play this game by putting down random cards. You also have to analyze other players' moves. For example, if a player puts down a See the Future card, you can counter that by putting down a Shuffle card so that that player is once again clueless about the deck. And our last tip isn't so much on gameplay, but more of just to make things easier for everyone. So the packaging comes with 2 slots where you can place cards. What you guys can do is to allot one side of it as the discard pile and the other side as your draw pile. This is just so that the cards won't be all over the place. Overall, we'd be giving Exploding Kittens a 5 out of 5 PsyCat star rating. The box is pretty compact even though it's bigger than your average box of playing cards, but it's still pretty easy to carry around. It's also really fun to play with friends since you'll never know who'll be put out of the game. It can be quite confusing at first since Exploding Kittens ends a turn with the drawing of a card. We don't think we've seen any other card or board game that uses this type of play. But don't worry, after a few rounds, you'll get the hang of it. If you're already a big fan of the original edition, there's also the Imploding Kittens, which adds 20 new cards to the deck, as well as the Exploding Kittens Not Safe for Work edition. The Not Safe for Work edition is only for ages 17 years old and above. So thank you guys for staying till the very end of the video. We hope you enjoyed and are looking into getting your own Exploding Kittens pack. But before heading out to look for Exploding Kittens, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment to tell us what you think, and of course subscribe to our channel. If you want to be updated on when our next video comes out, just hit that notification bell.